Bosses' snide comments cost them. Have been lurking a short while, reading the malicious compliance thread, but mine doesn't really fit there. Setting the scene. I was working in a small department of a large financial institution, preparing customers' returns, etc. My manager was a corporate bully. CBM, corporate bullying manager. CBM would pick on one guy at a time and pull their work to pieces, undermine them at every opportunity, and generally make life hell until they left. We felt we had no recourse to senior management as CBM was in with them. The other managers at the same level were enablers and did nothing to help us. Apart from CBM, I enjoyed the job and had a great bunch of colleagues around me. I am still friends with a couple of them 25 years later. It was now my turn for the bullying, and boy did CBM enjoy it. It affected my mental and physical health, and I would dread coming in, but I still put the hours in. CBM even brought me to tears at one point, but not in front of him. I wouldn't give him that satisfaction. I was working a lot of unpaid overtime, say 8-10 hours a week. Probably not a lot compared to our American cousins, but I wasn't getting paid so more than the company deserved. I didn't drive then, and the person who gave me a lift in had to work long hours. She was in a different department and a different building. I still enjoyed the actual work, so I didn't mind the longish hours. My standard day was meant to be 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. with an hour for lunch, but I was usually in at 7:30 a.m. and left at 5 p.m. The lunch hour is sacred to me, and I left the building every day at lunchtime to keep my sanity. So, to the petty compliance. On the day in question, I had a dental appointment in the afternoon, so I had to get the train at 3 p.m. I took my lunch hour as normal as I had already worked 6 hours that day, and I was not going to work straight though. When I came back from lunch, CBM sidled up to me and asked if I had a dental appointment later. I said yes. CBM then said, "Don't you think you should have worked through your lunch to make up for it?" I was speechless. I could not think of a reply. I have since, though, of lots of things to say, but unfortunately not in that moment. Not least, I am entitled to a lunch break, and I've worked 5 hours overtime already this week. From that moment on, they didn't get a single minute of overtime out of me. They lost up to 40 hours of productive time from me a month. I would sit in my friend's car until my clock-in time was due, and then leave work on the dot of 4 p.m. and go and sit in the car and read a book. I left that job a few months later, even handing in my notice, with no job to go to. I did get a job with an accountant pretty quickly. The issues I had from working for CBM carried over to that job, and whenever the new boss called me to discuss something, I panicked immediately thinking I had done something wrong. Took me a while to break that stomach-churning feeling whenever new boss phoned me. Slightly funny aside. I once timed how long I could go without speaking to CBM directly, with just a general good morning and good night to everyone. I started Monday morning, and it was just under 3 days, and I only had to talk to CBM to pass on a telephone message late on a Wednesday. CBM got a slight comeuppance the next year. The department had a contingency fund of $20,000 for customers' penalties where tax returns were not submitted on time. The department got all the forms out of the office to the customers by the deadline. CBM and his cronies told senior management the money wasn't needed, and they had a little party to celebrate, paid for out of that fund. Not the whole $20,000, just a couple of hundred. However, they had not actually submitted the forms to the Inland Revenue, still called that at the time. It didn't become HMRC till later. As the forms hadn't actually been submitted to IR, the penalties started rolling in during February and March. When CBM asked for the funding to pay these penalties, he was told the funds were no longer available as CBM had given assurances there would be no penalties. Oops. I'm guessing they cut some other areas of the budget to fund it? CBM got torn off a strip for that one. Yay. Wow, this is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be for a 30-second conversation.